If no amendments, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the February 13th meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who is that, Katie?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. Any other discussion or any discussion? Okay, so unfortunately, we're going to do a roll call approval here because we're virtual. So Dave Gulia.
I approve.
Perfect.
In the affirmative.
Thank you. Jake Dorr. You still here?
He will be.
Okay. Katie Monahan.
Yes.
Christine Feeney.
Yes.
Ed Clark.
Yes.
Amy Sareva.
Yes.
Catherine Weiss.
Yes.
Chris Shannon.
Yes.
Dennis Rigo.
Yes.
Beth Canterbaum.
Yes.
Keisha Jeffrey.
Yes.
Eleanor Rake. Yes. Charlotte Green.
Yes.
Jillian Savoy.
Yes.
Aaron Matthews.
Yes.
Lynn's Hercule. He's here. Kate Pearl.
Yes.
Megan Texera.
Yes.
Nicole Veloza.
Yes.
Anne Marie Gilbert.
Yes.
And go back to Jake Dorr.
Yes.
Okay. Did I miss anyone? Okay. And I am also a yes, so that is unanimous. So now we will go to public comment. So Mr. Vanis, you are the only one for public comment this evening, I believe.
What a surprise, huh?
So you have 2
2
minutes.
minutes. Well, that's
my
short for me.
friend.
I have to go fast because that's short
Okay,
for me.
2 minutes.
Just, we have a saying going around in Stoughton that facts are friendly. The original vote for the school was 55% to 45%. They set up a working group that a lot of people declined to take it. It was the first time in history that the SBAB gave an extension, and that's what's causing this election. I have citizens that want to know the cost of what the busing is going to be. I'm sure this has all been gone through, but I don't know what it is. What's going to happen with the Wilkins School if you're going to move the administrative officers there? How many classrooms are you going to lose? Okay. My main question is why this couldn't be in person. That's something that I don't understand. I'm lucky I know how to get on this thing. And the final thing is, in the whole process of the new building and the idea of it, I went to the first meeting. Jake Dorr, Katie both made wonderful presentations. I was all for it. And then I kind of changed my mind, and I've got a little grief because I changed my mind. And so I felt kind of bad about that. And those are some facts that I brought forth. I'm looking forward to any answers that we can get about the cost and about the buses. I know I heard the meeting last night at the FinCom. There's 13 buses, I guess. So I just don't know if that's all been talked about, I'm guessing, and that's all in some minutes somewhere.
So we obviously can't discuss what you, some of those questions. We haven't, they weren't on our agenda, but I can certainly send to you the minutes. This committee did just begin in November. I think some of the things that you are looking for we haven't actually discussed yet, but I am happy to share the minutes with you so that you can have them.
That would be great. I'll send you my email. And the only other thing is, the vote's coming up, and the people are so divided on this, and that's basically why I'm on this call tonight. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Feel free to stick around and listen to the conversation.
I am definitely going to stick around. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. All right. I don't believe there's any other public comment. Okay. So I sent to you a couple of items. I'm going to actually share with you my screen just so that it's easier to refer to these items as we talk. And one of the things that I sent to you was the South School numbers, or the South School District street numbers. So I'm going to pull those up. All right. So what you have in your packets with these South School street numbers shares with you the number of students that live on each street within the South School District. And you can go through to see the approximate, by looking at the maps from last meeting, you can kind of sketch out where you think those are, where these numbers land. Some of the streets are obviously not on that map that we looked at last meeting, but this does give you a sense of how many students. Of course, these are our current numbers. So when we think about if there was going to be a new school, that new school would likely open in 2028. So the numbers you're really looking at are these numbers here. This would be your 5th grade, 4th grade, and 3rd grade in 2028. So those are the numbers that would be sort of real to this situation. And of course, we wouldn't have the younger grades on this particular sheet. You'll notice too that the Sumner Street area has a large number of students, and combined with Atkins, which is like a connecting street to Sumner, that's a pretty heavily residential kid area. So this was just an interesting piece of data that I know that Dr. Baeta really wanted to make sure was in your hands, so you had some kind of conceptual numbers to go with the maps that we looked at last meeting. Okay. Any thoughts, questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Dorr.
No, I just think this was an interesting way to look at the breakdown of how the streets really kind of bear out the student numbers. And so, I have not yet gone on a map and actually like kind of placed this to create my own like hot zones, but this makes sense for anecdotally what I'm seeing, like where the most of our like newer families are, where newer developments are, and where we're going to have like some sustained growth over the next couple of years. So I just think this is interesting to see this breakdown and to see like the trends of the numbers by grade. So it is good information. And I think like if you gave this, people who live in the South community would also be like, oh, yep, that makes sense. That street is where I see the bus stop. That street is where I see. So I think there's a lot of, or like that street might be where there is some more multifamily housing. And so that makes sense that the numbers are a little bit bigger. So I think if you did this in any part of town, you would definitely see some hotter areas in terms of density and population density. So it's interesting to see it broken up in this way.
Agreed. Any other thoughts? This kind of data will be helpful. Go ahead, Miss Weiss.
I was also thinking about like future data. This is really helpful for the next few years, but it would be interesting to see, where the young kids are. It's a little bit harder to track them if they're not in our system, but that would be helpful to know if some of these are new developments and there are a lot of new families in there, but some of the other streets might be prime for turnover or something like that. So I don't know if there's a way to find out, kind of who has young children that are not yet registered and information like that.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of the things Dr. Baeta has talked about is having sort of a third party assist with that process. And my guess is that they would be able to really dig down deep in finding out like where those young populations are where we can't see them yet on our own particular data. So that would be really helpful as well. I agree. Other thoughts? Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you. Can we get the same kind of information for the students enrolled at the Jones and the students on the wait list at the Jones?
That would definitely be great data. I'm sure we could. I will absolutely ask for that.
And we could also collect it at the kindergarten registration as well, correct?
Yes. And when is kindergarten registration?
They've already opened it up, Julie.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wasn't on right at the beginning. Lots of traffic tonight.
Okay.
So they've already opened up the registration, and there's been probably a couple hundred already registered.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Julie, the preschool's registration opened for next school year also already.
Okay.
So the registrar should have all the address and everything in her data.
Excellent. So I will speak to them, see what we can get. All right. Any other thoughts or questions about this particular data? Does it bring up any questions for you? Concerns? Go ahead, Chris. Or Katie.
Yeah, let Katie go first.
Yeah, the only thing I was wondering is I know at the school level we have a breakdown of the actual house numbers on the different streets. I just am thinking that Sumner Street is such a long street. It's obviously heavily populated, but when we're thinking about redistricting, it might be helpful to know if there's any kind of clusters along Sumner Street in terms of what school they might be pulled into in the event that we have to look at that. That might be interesting information to get as well.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Chris?
Yeah, Julie, I was wondering if it is possible to convert addresses to like longitude, latitude information and to create your own heat map. And I'm wondering if we could do that, maybe somehow code by color, like the different grade levels, really starting with 3 and under, grades 3 and under.
I don't know the answer to that question, but we can figure that out.
But well, yeah, because I just did a quick Google search, and it doesn't seem like it's that hard of a process. I'd be happy to help
Yeah.
work on that if that were needed. But I feel like the information we're looking at right now is dated, and that almost half of the population is it's not relevant information. So it feels like that data could be heavily skewed, and we don't know how. So I think it'd be good to do the same kind of process, but geomap it and create our own heat map.
Yep. Dr. Quilly.
Just to speak to what Chris and Katie were saying, I think that there are a couple of AI tools that we could plug in some of the data. We can research, and then we should be able to get more, we could make a heat map or a plot type of map too. And I like Katie's idea of doing it with clusters of houses for the larger streets. And depending on the vote, we should do that for all of the schools, because Central Street, Katie, would be the same.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Christine Feeney?
And didn't we, I think it was last meeting, we did get a heat map and then just break it. If they did that, they must have the breakdown of the streets there. Whomever did it. I don't know who did it. Just a thought. Before everyone starts doing all of this extra work that might be there already.
Yes. Jake?
Yeah, and Katie can chime in too here, because we were there when the
Yeah.
plan was originally presented. It was not broken down by street. So, I mean, it has general area, and it is good information, but I don't believe it was broken down by street initially. And I think, and maybe Catherine was also there, and Katie, I don't even know if we still have the relationship with that group to be able to get any more data from them at this time.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Jake. I think what we have is all we're going to get from them unless we contract with them again.
And I was going to add that the data is dated as well. So it's even older than this data.
Mm-hmm. So Christine Feeney, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Oh no, I just didn't take my hand down.
All right. Any other thoughts about this? We can move on to the NESDEC data if you want to. That's a little bit more longitudinal than this current South Street data. So, all right, to move on to that next agenda item. Okay. So I would really draw your attention for discussion to pages 2 and 4 of the NESDEC data because it's you know more of your harder numbers that show you by grade level, by birth year, by school year, how that relates to school year, and it gives you some idea of how we are growing in Stoughton. We definitely are growing. You can see on that page 2 that we had a significant couple of growth years between 2022 through 2024. Those were our large growth areas. But then we are predicted to continue to grow, maybe not as steeply over the next few years until about 2034. So when you look on those pages, you can see like page 4 here predicts out a little bit longer for us to kind of get an idea about what our different grade levels and sizes of grade levels in the district would be. And when you look at this data, you know, right now we're in 3,000, we're at this 3,771 pupils in school year 24-25. And by the time we hit 2034, we'll have a little under 300 more students with a big bump the year before or a bigger bump the year before. So, and for me, I'm not sure how many people love spreadsheets. I do love spreadsheets. I do like digging into data. When you read this, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. You can look across the line, which shows you in 1 year what it looks like, or you can kind of do the step down where, for example, in the school year 2024-25, there are 281 kindergartners, which means that in 25-26, they predict 298 first graders, and then 301 second graders, and so on. So it kind of steps down in that stepward fashion. Of course, these numbers in dark blue down here are estimated because those are not based on, they're based on an estimated amount of births, but then it gives us a good idea of what we're anticipating. And then you also have the projected enrollment down here underneath that that kind of gives you grade spans and thinking about how many students would be we would be talking about when it comes time to maybe actually make these moves and within the district for redistricting. So a lot of good data here. Any thoughts about this? Chris.
Information that might be more accurate, because I know these are all predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Town Hall has information on all of the development plans from contractors, you know, like where there might be new construction, new building.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing where those areas are might also give us maybe a more accurate predictor of where there might be growth that's location specific as we think about redistricting.
It's a great point. Other thoughts? So I've started to make this list of the different area or the different kinds of data you might be looking for or might want to see. Are there other kinds of data other than those that have already been mentioned that are on your mind as we sort of move forward? Keeping in mind that by the next time we have this meeting, we will know which way we're moving, right, Jake?
Julie, you might have a better idea of, I like the NESDEC information. I think it's really a good predictor. Do you know if like the churn rate that the district currently goes through with kind of our urban like setting is involved in how NESDEC does their numbers? Has that changed over time? Because I know because of the way kind of our population has shifted and the in and out of a lot of movement of kids over. I know the South has been particularly impacted with the numbers over time, and we went from 240 4 years ago to just under 300. So it's a pretty big jump. I was just wondering if that's something NESDEC could factor in the future if they run another report for us, or if that's something they do for urban districts.
Yeah. Great question. I don't know if they figured that into this particular data. I can find that out. Other data you'd like, other thoughts, questions? Catherine.
I'm not sure we're here quite yet, but one of the things when we, as part of the building project, one of the things we looked at was also demographics. And that was something that the third party that made the heat map for us before also was able to factor in. But unfortunately, I don't think we have the individual breakdowns on that. But considering, we want to balance out the town and consider things like income level, other demographics that would affect, a population of a school, because I think that's one of the things we need to talk about. What are our goals for, a balanced school district, balanced elementary schools?
Thank you. Okay. So I've got quite a list here. I'm going to work on trying to find some answers to some of these questions, but also see what kind of data we can pull from what you've requested. Having some of the data that you've asked for would definitely give us a lot to sort of dig into and take a look at a really more complete picture. So we will, I'll see what we can dig up. I can definitely get those registration numbers for our next meeting. Any other thoughts about the data we looked at? Anything, other questions you have, comments you might have? All right. Christine.
I mean, I think next meeting we'll have a lot to say. I think it's just like this waiting game right now.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. I agree. And any other business? All right. So our next meeting is scheduled to be April 10th. That will be just after the vote. We will have some definite more things to talk about. We will have our direction of where we're moving. And I will definitely have some more of this data for you. All right, it's a big week, big month coming up here. Any other thoughts before we adjourn? Yes, Chris.
I know during public comment, there were questions about the financial implications around the new building, which is kind of outside the purview and scope of this committee, but still tangentially related. I just wanted to mention for everyone present that the school committee and district are holding office hours for anyone who wants more information on the proposed FY26 budget. So you may be able to use that as an opportunity to have financial questions at least answered specifically around the new building project. And I believe they are both in-person and virtual office hour opportunities.
Thank you. That's great information. Okay.
Could I follow up on that? I have the sheet from the town meeting members that was sent. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, okay. There's a scheduled meeting this Saturday. It says from 10 o'clock to 11:30. As far as we know, is that still on for further information? at central office. That's the email we got to the town meeting members and the finance committee members and families. I'm just not sure.
Yes.
That is still in person, okay, Saturday
Yes,
from
sir.
10 to 11:30. And my only final question, if I contacted you tomorrow, would I be able to get the information that you guys have in your packet?
Yes.
All right, good. Should I come to the school? Would that be all right?
I can email it to you if you want to, or you can swing by the school. That would be fine.
Well, you know what? I'd like to come in person, you know that.
All right, sir. I will
Thank
see you
very much.
tomorrow.
I appreciate it very much.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Any other thoughts? All right, all those in favor of adjourning? Is that a unanimous? Is that it?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all you people for giving all your time to Stoughton. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Good night,
I
Peter.
appreciate everything you're trying to do.
Thank you.
And I
All right, my
know
friend.
it's a challenge and a half. I already talked to Superintendent Byetta, and the variables are just, who knows, after the vote, who knows what the heck's going to happen. But thank you for letting me be allowed on the call. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
anytime. All right, I will see all of you April 10th, if not sooner. Have a wonderful evening.